So my name's Payal, and I live on Long Island in New York, and I grew up in a non-vegetarian household, actually, even though my extended family was vegetarian. And when I was 10, my dad decided we weren't going to eat meat anymore, which was hard for me. So I really struggled with it up until about like 20. And then I decided that either I make a decision that eating meat is not what I believe in and I don't do it, or I say, you know what, I'm going to eat meat and not feel ashamed about it. And I decided that it wasn't for me and I don't, believe in that. So I became vegetarian. But then being vegan was a different story, because when I learned how we source dairy, that was just like a complete rude awakening for me, but cheese. So I had a really hard time just separating the addiction really that I had to cheese with what was happening to cows basically. And so I think about 5 years ago, I just made a decision that this isn't for me, same way I did before when I was vegetarian. And I said, you know what, I'm not gonna do this anymore. And it wasn't like a cutoff when I became vegetarian. It was definitely a struggle. And, I would say even still today, sometimes, I feel not tempted, but I feel like it's a struggle. But overall, it's so important to me that this is who I am, I don't believe in this. And so, so that's my vegan story. Before I came to the program, I think my biggest struggle, having been in this program now for a year, looking back, is that I really didn't know what I didn't know. And so I thought that nutrition was one thing, when in actuality it was something different. So I thought that it was important how much I weighed, what I looked like on the outside. I thought it was cool to be strong, but I thought that was sort of it's like a side thing. And then when I came into the program, I was super focused on losing weight, which I did. But I think what I learned was so much more. My relationship to food, especially now, very recently, I would say my relationship to food has totally changed. Where before I was always thinking about food, thinking about my next meal, figuring out what new recipes I want to try. And now it's sort of more like, hey, I need protein, I need veggies, I need, fats to satisfy me so that I can have my workout, not have brain fog, focus on the things I want to do for my life. So I think that's really, right now, what the program has given me. So I've lost the weight, and I've just changed my whole relationship with food. So when I joined the program, I had a very specific meal plan that was targeting my macronutrients. I had an exercise plan, and I was to get 10,000 steps a day. And what happened was I totally, completely struggled, and what I thought was failed at it because I wasn't consistent. I felt like I couldn't get motivated to work out. But somehow, I think the process of just failing and then getting back up, somehow in 5 or 6 months, I lost 20 pounds. So clearly I was doing something right, even though I felt like I'm not getting anything right. And one of the best things that came out of the program for me, originally I thought, the best thing that came out of this for me was I lost 20 pounds. Hey, that's great, that's amazing. But as I continued on in the program, I think really one of the best things I've had come out of it is just understanding that progress, one, is not linear. Progress is slow. Consistency is super important. Not comparing myself to others, because there are plenty of people out there, even within the program, that are different fitness levels, different body shapes, different everything. And it does not matter what they look like, what they do, but what matters is, hey, what do I need and what is working for me? So I think for me, that was probably the biggest thing, is understanding that I don't need to be perfect. And also, just because the number on the scale is not necessarily moving, there are so many other ways to measure progress. It's such a gradient. It's not just black and white. So my relationship to food, it's like I'm always thinking of food in the past. My mother-in-law and my family, they would just joke about how, Payal always needs her snacks, Payal always needs her food. And it's true, anytime I would go out somewhere, out of my home, I would always be thinking, where am I gonna get food? As if I was gonna starve. I was never going anywhere where there was no food, but I was always like, I need food, I need food. And I would make sure that I had it, or I was thinking about when to buy it, or what to make, and what to eat. how delicious it was, and I want to try this and I want to try that. And when I joined the program, the meals for me personally were such a departure from what how I had been eating, that it was almost a bit of a shock for me. That like, wait, this is it? Like, where's the fancy? You know, where's the like, you know, fireworks in my food? And it was just really simple. And at the time, it felt boring. It felt like, you know, I need like pizzazz and jazz in my food. And then halfway through the program, maybe more than halfway, actually, I started to realize the connection between what I was eating, how I felt, and sometimes even how I felt and what I was eating. So if there were times where I was feeling sad or upset about something, I was finding myself wanting to order some delivery or takeout. And I started to journal at one point, to write these things down and to notice, well, how well did I sleep? You know, how do I feel in the morning? What were some triggers for me? And then I started noticing patterns, which sounds really obvious, like when I'm talking about it, but I genuinely was not taking that time to think, hey, what does this hunger actually mean? Like, how do I need to interpret this? And I think then I was able to figure out, okay, what is it that I need to do to fuel myself up so that if I have this like emotional moment, I'm not physically hungry, and if I emotionally feel a pull towards a donut, then I can take a step back and say, no, I don't actually need the donut. What I need is to not feel sad. And what can I do now to steer myself towards a better place? So that was really, really huge. I think at different points that you ask me what value I got from the program that I didn't expect before, my answer would change. And I think if you'd asked me that 6 months ago, I would say that the community was something that I didn't think I needed, wanted, it wasn't necessary, but that was huge. And it's incredible to know that you're not alone, that even though everyone's journey and struggle is different, like you're still working towards the same thing, ultimately. And the other thing too, I think for me right now is just the relationship I have to food. Like I would say right now, I didn't even know going into the program that I had a not normal relationship with food. You know, the fact that I was always thinking about food is actually not normal. You know, like it's not that it's not normal, but it's not helpful, and that it's not going to help me have the healthy body that I want. So just having that like kind of like aha moment that, oh, I need to eat to fuel my body, which you hear everyone say all the time, but now I actually like feel it. Like, oh, I just need some protein right now. Like I just need more veggies, or oh, you know, I didn't eat enough fat. So that's why I'm hungry right now, or that's why my workout is a little tougher. So I think that was absolutely a big takeaway. To somebody who's thinking about this program, somebody who's thinking about, you know, is this right for them? I personally was very scared. It took me a year to reach out, to even, you know, make that call, you know, to just talk about it. I would say that there's no harm in asking for information. There's no harm in having the conversation, and to be really, really honest about what your fears are, about what your concerns are, what you want or what you think you want, because all of the coaches, all of the people actually in the program, they've been through it all. So there's nothing you can say that could sound unreasonable or crazy. And I think that you just have to be really, really honest, and just inquire. And there's no, you know, there's no like pushy sales, like you must sign up now. Like there's no gimmicks, you know, which I really appreciated. So I would say that it's really risk-free to reach out and to not feel like there's going to be any kind of pressure to go any further.